Hallo Freunde und herzlich willkommen zurück zu Foolish Mortals, die Demo-Version, Folge Nummer 3. Wir werden, ich bin gerade am Überlegen, ich wollte eigentlich sagen, wir werden jetzt mit der Dame reden, mit der Journalistin, aber ich habe mich gerade gefragt, ob das hier hinten, ob das Abigail ist. Und ob das hier vielleicht der Typ ist, den sie heiraten wollte. Also nicht der Seemann, das sieht nicht nach Seemann aus, aber der andere Typ, den sie am Schluss noch heiraten wollte. Ja, könnte vielleicht sein. Könnte vielleicht sein. Aber egal. Lasst uns mal mit Evelyn Stocker reden.
Yes?
Hi. What are you working on?
Listen to this. An innocent victim's domesticated canine has been suddenly and mysteriously ripped away from them by fate. Its location and intentions are unknown.
Wait, are you talking about a lost dog?
Technically, it's not lost anymore. It was found shortly before I got to the house. But still, the story must be written.
I have a headline suggestion. Lost dog, not lost.
I have a personal suggestion. Butt out.
Ja, im Moment hat sie anscheinend ein bisschen Problem für interessante Geschichten.
Don't you have more interesting stories to write about?
The crackpots this island calls a population wouldn't know something interesting if they paid for it. Which they hardly do. Believe me, I've tried to get juicier stories. Scouring the island, doorstop interviews, hiding beneath windows.
You eavesdrop on people through their windows?
It's called investigative reporting.
Okay.
I'm doing some research on the treasure of Bellemore Manor.
Leave it. That's my advice. There's no story in it.
No story?
Not that anyone would believe. And I've got advertisers breathing down my neck.
What's your theory on Bellemore Manor?
This might sound far-fetched, but I think it was hypnotism. All the puzzle pieces make sense.
Who was hypnotized?
Abigail, by that strange sailor she was going to marry. This newspaper had been publishing a bunch of stories about spooky goings-on across the island. We even had tip-offs of black magic inside Bellemore Manor. Can you believe it?
Who was doing black magic?
Well, we weren't told for sure, but it makes sense, doesn't it? The sailor! Why else would someone as powerful as Abigail want to marry a lowly manual worker like him? Come the night of the wedding, and she wised up. Married John Rackham, the company's first officer. Much more on her social standing, and a responsible choice for the company.
Sorry, Post. Bin wieder da, wie ihr gerade schon gemerkt habt. Und was habe ich verpasst? Ja, wahrscheinlich muss ich es mir selber nochmal anschauen, was sie noch so gesagt hat. Ja gut, machen wir mal weiter.
What do you think caused everyone to disappear?
The last revenge of the sailor's sorcery. But imagine me writing that into a piece of serious journalism. I'd be laughed out of the industry.
Das ist durchaus möglich.
What's in those filing cabinets?
Past issues of the newspaper, starting right back in 1864. Of course, things were a lot more interesting when Deadnuttle was thriving as a port town. Comings and goings of people, ships, and cargo. Lots to report on back then. More than the dregs I have to dress up now.
Why did the ship stop coming to Deadnuttle?
The Bellemore Trading Company was the heartbeat of this island. After the disappearance, there was no one left to run the company, and it all got sold off. When that folded, so did pretty much everything else.
Okay, das dachte ich mir schon.
Do you have any back issues featuring the Bellemore Manor wedding?
We don't, I'm afraid. Most of the paper's directors were at the wedding and disappeared along with everyone else. The newspaper had to shut up shop for weeks while it was restaffed. This was back when the Gazette wasn't run by just one person.
Okay, das ist natürlich blöd.
Can I take a look in the filing cabinets?
Sorry, McAllen. Employees only. And we're a one-woman operation here these days. The paper doesn't bring in enough money to take people on.
Und ein Foto? Machst du wenigstens ein Foto von uns?
Would you take my photograph?
Do you know how much the chemicals cost to develop those photographs? I'm on a limited budget here,
What constitutes something notable for the newspaper?
Frankly, our standards are pretty low these days. Yesterday, I photographed Ned Kipps, the fisherman that hangs around the pier, for catching a fish.
Is that a surprising turn of events for a fisherman?
It broke the island weight record. The pen cozes a fish that's been caught round the island since it was settled. The locals say it tastes good. I'd rather chew on raw cotton.
Ja, ich auch.
I think I better be going.
Keep your eyes out for a story, McAllen. There are secrets on the island, and it's my job to sell advertisements next to them.
Das heißt, wenn wir den Fisch präparieren, dass wir seinen Rekord brechen, könnten wir vielleicht dafür sorgen, dass sie ein Foto von uns macht.
Don't even think about touching that machine.
Dachte ich mir, dass sie was dagegen hat. Genauso wahrscheinlich wie die
There was no
Kamera.
way I was going to get past the newspaper editor to get it. Besides, I didn't know how to operate it.
Du weißt nicht, wie man ein Fotoapparat bedient?
Hey, you can't come back here.
Sorry.
Ja, okay. So viel da dazu. Kann ich jetzt einfach mal die Schere nehmen und das Bild ausschneiden?
I didn't need to cut that.
Ja, ich wollte das blöde Bild auf dem Fischer ausschneiden, damit ich das in den Ding reinmachen kann. Aber vielleicht brauchen wir... Das ist, glaube ich, auch nur ein Hinweis gewesen. Das mit diesem Angelführerschein, um in dieses Ding reinzukommen, dass wir so einen brauchen. Wahrscheinlich müssen wir ihnen das nicht geben. Wahrscheinlich müssen wir tatsächlich nur den Fisch präparieren und dass wir da ein Foto von uns bekommen, damit wir das da reinmachen können und in diesen Laden reinkommen, von dem sie gemeint hat. Ist die Frage, geht's da raus wieder oder geht's da irgendwo anders hin?
There was no way to get out to the wreck. And from how decayed it looked, no reason to get out to the wreck either.
Okay, was ist mit dem Plakat? Ach, da
The
geht's auch noch
poster
weiter.
advertised billiards at the Captain's Club, with 3 billiard balls and 2 cues framing a cube of billiard chalk.
Okay, das ist dieser Club, wo wir wahrscheinlich rein müssen, wo wir diesen Führerschein brauchen. Wenn wir dahin gehen, dann kommen wir da raus. Und wenn wir da reingehen, dann kommen wir wahrscheinlich wieder da hinten raus. Schätze ich doch mal. Okay. Alles klar. Dann gehen wir mal hier rein. Wahrscheinlich kommen wir hier nicht rein, weil der Oberkellner uns nicht reinlässt. Ha.
Good evening. He looked past me like I was invisible, as though if he ignored me hard enough, there was a chance I'd disappear. I said good evening?
I suppose, if one's standards are low enough. Have you taken a wrong turn, sir?
I'm just having a look around.
Well, make it a quick one.
Netter Kerl.
Who are you?
My name is Felix Greer, maitre d', bartender, and acting manager of the Captain's Club, when Mr. Perkins has his night off. And who, pray tell, are you?
Murphy McAllen. I'm looking for the lost treasure of Bellemore Manor.
Oh, goody, another young adventurer seeking fame, fortune, or some combination of the two. Just what Dead Nettle's been lacking for local color.
Und was ist das für ein Ort?
What is this place?
This, sir, is the Captain's Club, a private members club for current and retired sea and riverboat captains. We are highly exclusive. Are you a captain?
He asked with a smugness that told me he already knew the answer.
I thought not. Then may I recommend a swift exit? You'll find a convenient egress approximately 180 degrees to starboard. If you like, I can give you a good swift kick in the right direction, sir. And don't feel a need to stop walking until your ankles get soggy.
Und was gibt's hier?
What do you serve here?
Captains.
Right, yes. I mean by the way of food?
The Captain's Club serves a dazzling array of sea-source dishes, from our house special jambalaya to my personal favorite, Devil's Rock Pancoza, hand-seared with lobster slaw and citrus crawfish beer blanc. In all honesty, it's not very popular. Most of the clientele are absolutely sick of seafood by the time they get ashore. Just the sight of it makes them groggy.
Und Getränke?
What about drinks?
Listen, if you're from the Prohibition Bureau, we've cleared all that up with Officer Moe. Fines were paid, things changed hands, and now we're clear.
I'm not from any Prohibition Bureau.
Then forget I said anything. The Captain's Club is strictly teetotal, in line with federal law. Now, if certain members wish to bring in their own medicinals, then we're happy to provide medicinal aids. Ice, tonic, mixers, and the like. but we serve no alcohol on the premises.
Okay, dann erzähl was über den Ort hier.
What can you tell me about Dead Nettle?
Do you think you wandered into the local library? Should we gather around for story time?
I was just hoping to talk to someone obviously so knowledgeable about the area.
Well, yes, unfortunately I'm plagued with an encyclopedic knowledge of the local area. My concierge duties require it. I have a spiel. Welcome, hardy traveler, to our quaint port town of Dead Nettle. Once this town you see around you was a hub of commerce, a beacon for ships bravely navigating between America, Europe, and the Caribbean. With the unfortunate dissolution of the Bellemore Trading Company, our town has settled into a quieter life, perfect for the sailor ready to hang up their cap. We hope that you enjoy your time in our homely town and perhaps explore some of the local sites. With the Captain's Club always here as your home port.
Why was the Bellemore Trading Company dissolved?
Well, you're taking me off script, but it really was quite the scandal. The 3 owners of the company vanished, and there was simply nobody left to run the company.
Wasn't there anyone who tried?
The first officer of the company, Mr. Rackham, looked to step up, but he disappeared too. I do wish the company hadn't collapsed.
I bet lots of people share that wish.
I might have more customers if it hadn't.
Dieser Rackham, das war doch der neue Verlobte von der Abigail. Also nicht der Verlobte, sondern den, wo sie anschließend heiraten wollte, oder? Oder habe ich das jetzt falsch in Erinnerung gerade?
What do you know about the lost treasure of Bellemore Manor?
Do you think you're living in a storybook? Weathered maps, talking parrots, X marks the spot? Grow up, you silly boy. Captaincy is an accomplished skill which doesn't need belittling by childish tales like lost treasure.
What do you know about the Bellemore wedding?
You mean the disappearance of the Bellemore wedding? On moonlit nights when the waves crash against the rocks, the captains of this club trade yarns about this very mystery. Did you know Abigail Bellemore's fiancé was a sailor who worked on the ships? Some of the old boys here even worked with him. They say he loved her, as true as a captain loves the sea. But she was a temptress, a siren who scuttled that sailor's heart.
What did she do?
After months of engagement, she broke it off and chose to marry an officer of the company instead, on their very wedding day.
Who was the man she chose to marry instead?
John Rackham, a landlubber who only used the bounties of the sea to fill his coin purse. But the
Wie ich's
Bellemores
gesagt hab.
harnessed his ambitions for the company, his expertise at imports and exports.
Why did she do it?
What many people don't know is that mysterious things had been found on one of the company voyages to the Caribbean. Mystical things, some say.
What did they find?
The crew was sworn to secrecy by the Bellemore brothers, and all of the men were loyal enough to keep their word. But the rot in the rope was that sister, Abigail. People say that the discovery took hold of her. With the broken heart of the sailor and the resources of the officer, she was about to unleash something terrible. Perhaps it was a good thing that they all disappeared.
Do you think that's true?
Of course not. It's all nonsense. But the captains do love to outperform each other with such tales on a dull evening.
What makes you think I'm not a captain?
Well, for one thing, you lack the grizzle, the crustiness, the essential R of a captain.
How do I get those?
Years of exposure to salt water and sullen, uncooperative crew members, I should think. Tell me, have you ever captained a 3-rigger through a tropical typhoon? Have you ever run the rapids of the Mississippi without hitting a single reef? Wind in your sails, fire in your furnace, waves beneath your keel?
Have you?
Well, it's more complicated than that.
In what way?
I get seasick.
Is there any way to prove I'm a captain?
You might show me your captain's license. As I'm sure you know, the state of Louisiana requires all captains, both sea and riverboat, to carry one. But don't try to foist me off with a fake. Last week, we had someone present a license with a photograph distinctly unlike their contemporary appearance. The photograph was clearly of someone a good deal older than them, with more facial hair and, most importantly, one less eye.
No, I must have left my license in my other pants.
Certainly, sir. Hopefully I'll be able to read it, seeing as I was apparently born yesterday.
I best be casting on.
Don't feel the need to rush back, sir.
Ich meine, ich könnte ihnen jetzt das Ding geben, aber das bringt ja nichts, weil da fehlt ja das Bild noch drin.
Without a photograph of me, there was no way he was going to accept it as
Genau.
proof of me being a captain.
Das ist das, was ich meinte. Was haben wir denn noch alles? Ein
I glanced at the
Podium?
ledger on the podium. It was mostly empty, and the few entries there didn't seem of any interest.
Ja, ich frage mich echt, wozu wir das auch eigentlich bräuchten, aber wer weiß.
There was nothing in the fountain apart from a rim of moss.
Statue
You
noch.
can't go up there. It's for members only.
Ich wollte auch nur die Statue anschauen.
Members.
Ja, wir kommen da auch gar nicht weiter. Okay, also hier können wir erstmal nichts machen. Dann schauen wir mal, ein Puppentheater haben wir noch hier.
Gruff mumbles emanated from inside the puppet theater. Obviously, preparation for tonight's show was already underway.
Kann man irgendwas machen? Schild können wir noch
The sign
anschauen.
read, "The fantastic Fantaccio brothers will be performing tonight. People of all ages welcome. Donations welcome even more so."
Können wir aber anscheinend im Moment nicht wirklich was machen. Da geht's nur wieder zurück, das wissen wir ja. Dann schauen wir mal hier rüber. Da haben wir auf jeden Fall noch ein Haus. Und ich glaube... Moment. Ah, da geht's wieder zur Insel. Okay.
I tried the door. It was locked.
Irgendwie war mir
It
das
was the
klar.
door to a jewelry shop, with a sign behind the glass reading, "Back in 5 minutes."
Ich glaube, das werden lange 5 Minuten werden, wenn wir hier warten würden. Okay, dann haben wir noch das letzte Gebiet. Das hier.
Framed by trees and lit by moonlight, Bellemore Manor stood imposingly in the still night air. Even without lights on, it felt like something inside the house was calling me. Or warning me.
Das ist also dieses Haus, wo wir rein müssen. Ich muss eine Sache gerade noch mal nachschauen. Kreide war es, was noch fehlt. Ich war nicht sicher. Nägel war mir klar, aber das andere wusste ich jetzt nicht mehr. Okay, da geht's zu einem Pfad. Das Haus können wir uns anschauen. Wir haben eine Tür.
I scanned the house for a way in. Perhaps an unlocked door or window. But my search was without luck.
Und die Tür ist wahrscheinlich verschlossen, nehme ich mal an.
With a deep breath, I took hold of the door handle of the house I'd been thinking about for months and turned it. Unsurprisingly, it was locked. I briefly considered breaking into the house, but unsure of just how true the ghost stories were, decided it was better to not risk angering any spirits that may have been in there. If I was getting in, I was going to need the key.
Ja, okay, dann... Oh,
I wasn't going to wade into the pond. A large pond lay in front of the house, slowly being reclaimed by algae and weeds.
was haben wir sonst noch? Da haben wir noch einen Pfad. Geht's hier auch noch weiter? Schade, dass er könnte ruhig ein bisschen schneller laufen, finde ich. Gerade wenn man einen Doppelklick macht oder so. Das finde ich ein bisschen schade. Ja, es geht tatsächlich noch weiter. Wir haben noch Möbel.
From the gathering moss and rust, it was clear the patio set hadn't been used in decades.
Was ist mit dem Hufeisen?
So much for good luck.
Kommt mit.
I picked up the horseshoe that assaulted me. It was heavy. Very heavy.
Damit habe ich jetzt schon eine Idee, was man vielleicht mitmachen könnte. Da geht's zur Insel, dann gehen wir aber erstmal zum Pfad. Ach, dann kommen wir nur von da nach da. Okay, in dem Fall können wir das hier so...
With the ripped seam as an opening, I placed the horseshoe inside the taxidermied fish. Now it was heavy.
Okay, und den muss ich wahrscheinlich dann noch zumachen?
That wasn't going to work.
Nee, okay. Dann probieren wir mal aus, ob das vielleicht funktioniert. Mit dieser Waage.
Matt, does that say what I think it does? You've been holding back on me. That breaks my record.
McCallum! You just broke the island fishing record.
How did you hear about this so fast?
It's my job to know about things fast. Now, I'm doing the questions here. So what led to this unbelievable turn of events? Years of practice? Or a 1 in a million fluke? Did the fish just jump into your lap as you walked the quayside? Was the fish dropped by a passing seagull?
Would have been a pretty darn big seagull.
Just beginner's luck, I guess.
As I suspected, well, as much as it pains me to say it, you're the cover story on this evening's edition of the Juniper Parish Gazette, and this is why I'm not getting a Pulitzer.
Okay, das ging ja schneller als ich dachte.
Mac. That fish is a whopper. I wouldn't believe it myself if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
Können wir den Fisch wieder mitnehmen?
I'd had enough of carrying the suspiciously heavy fish around. I decided to leave it there.
Alles klar. Dann schauen wir mal. Ist die Ausgabe schon fertig oder müssen wir die erst später, bekommen wir die erst später?
The latest newspaper contained a photograph of the fishermen on the docks. Nothing else was of interest.
Murphy, have you seen the cover of the evening edition?
Nee, noch
think we
nicht.
caught your personality perfectly in that photograph. Naive, simple, unsophisticated. Makes it all the more surprising that you actually accomplished something.
I wonder if I should have it framed.
Danke.
That will cost you.
I picked up the newspaper. The fewer people that saw it, the better.
Okay, dann schneiden wir das Bild aus.
Carefully, I cut my photograph out of the newspaper.
So, aber jetzt brauchen wir wahrscheinlich noch irgendwas, um es zu kleben.
I stuck the cutout photograph onto the still tacky interior of the captain's license. It was convincing enough.
Ne, es klebt es klebt von
Da
allein. Ja, das ist ein tolles Bild. Alles klar. Damit kommen wir jetzt auf jeden Fall in Dings rein hier. Die Frage ist, was bringt uns das? Wahrscheinlich gibt es da oben irgendetwas, was wir brauchen. Schätze ich jedenfalls mal. Na gut. Aber das sehen wir dann in der nächsten Folge, was da oben ist. Bis dahin, macht's gut. Und tschüss.